welcome back. I bet you didn't expect me to see me at the beach, but here I am. There are lots of sports in the Olympics that happen on a beach, or it could be a man-made beach, like beach volleyball or beach handball. And there are things that take place in the water, in the sea, like rowing or open water swimming or surfing sometimes. The story that we're going to look at today in the Bible is all about a man who didn't want the job that God gave him. Before we start the story, I do apologise about the noise and about those people keep cycling while I'm recording. So I'm just going to keep going. So yeah, try not to get distracted by the people, because it's a very good story. God had a job for Jonah, but Jonah didn't want it. Go to Nineveh, God said, and tell your worst enemies that I love them. No, said Jonah. Those are bad people doing bad things. Exactly, said God. They have run far away from me, but I can't stop loving them. I'll give them a new start. I will forgive them. No, said Jonah. They don't deserve it. I'll run away, Jonah thought to himself. Far away, so far that God won't be able to find me. Then I won't have to do what God says. It's a good plan, he said, because as far as he knew, it was a good plan. But of course, it wasn't really a good plan at all. It was a very silly plan, because you can't run away from God, because he'll always come and find you. Jonah went ahead with his not very good plan. One ticket to not Nineveh, please, he said, and boarded a boat sailing in the very opposite direction to Nineveh. Well, it wasn't very long before a fierce storm blew and the boat started to lurch and pitch and roll and everyone started turning green. Jonah sat bolt upright in his bed. You see, the first thing that went wrong with Jonah's not very good plan was that God sent a big storm after him. The sailors couldn't sail their ship properly. They were sinking. They screamed and started throwing everything overboard, suitcases, food, whatever they could find. By now, Jonah knew that the storm was his fault. Throw me in instead, he shouted to the sailors, and the storm will stop. The sailors weren't sure. It's the only way you can be saved, said Jonah. So, 1, 2, 3, splash! No sooner had Jonah hit the water than the waves grew calm, the wind died down, and the storm stopped. Just then, when Jonah thought it was all over, when he was sure he was going to drown, God sent a big fish to rescue him. The fish swallowed Jonah whole with one big gulp. Jonah must have thought he'd died. It was so dark in there, like a tomb. But then he smelled the rotting food and felt the slimy seaweed and knew he wasn't dead. He was in the belly of the fish, sitting there in the darkness for 3 whole days. Jonah had plenty of time to think. Pretty soon he realised his plan was, well, a very silly plan indeed. He was sorry for running away. He prayed to God from the inside the great fish and asked God to forgive him. I wonder what's going to happen to Jonah next. Now, to carry on our Olympic theme, what I'd like to do is follow the instructions that are going to come up on the screen to make yourself an origami boat. Look, I've made one just like this. And then I'd like you to do some sailing. So take it to the bath or to a sink, or if you've got a pond, you could do that. If you've blessed enough to have a swimming pool, you could put it on there. If you haven't got any water, what you could do is pop it on the floor and then blow as fast and see if your boat will travel very fast. I'd like you to see who can get to the end of the bath or end of the piece of water the quickest, and whoever wins gets however many points that there are in your family. So if there are 3 people playing, if you're a winner, you get 3 points. If you come second, you get 2 points, and if you come third, you get 1 point. And add it to the leaderboard, and we'll see who's winning a bit later on. Now, another thing you can do before we meet again is, I told you needed a little mini figure or a little person. Jonah is now hidden inside the belly of a very big fish. Why don't you choose somebody to go and hide the little figure, and then you can see how fast you can find Jonah. Maybe you could add that to your scoreboard. Have a bit of fun, and I'll see you a bit later. Bye!